Hey guys, welcome to our Invincible season finale review and the series review. Well, no, season 2. The series is still going, thankfully, because this is one of the best shows on television, bar none. I'm talking animation and I'm talking live action. That's how fucking good this is. It is character-driven storytelling within the superhero universe. And if you ever have like superhero atrophy or you're tired of the Marvel's formulaic bullshit that's going on or the disaster that it was the DCEU, hopefully the DCU will be better, then this is something that you need to check out. Based on the amazing comic series Invincible, with I think about 144 issue run, and it is all very strong stuff. And thankfully, this series has been completely, perfectly adapted, and in some ways, even making the comic better, which is really hard to do. And we'll get to some of that as what they do here in part 2, especially with Mark and Amber's relationship. I think the way they handle this has improved since the comics. But I think both ways are relevant and definitely happen in real life. So basically, there is a lot happening. Okay? There's 8 episodes in a season. We had to wait, I don't know, it was like a 3-month break in between. We hated that. We still hate that. We hope that never happens again. But extenuating circumstances with, COVID and stuff like that. I believe there was a 2-year wait in between seasons. But they said they're already deep into season 3. And so we hopefully won't have to wait as long. And we won't have that annoying break in the middle. Because there will be a season 3. And I just got to say, season 2 has been a massive, massive success. And okay, so let's see. Having read the comics, I think we're at about, I wrote it down here, 47, about comic number 47 of 144.
Yeah,
So if you look at that, that's about 1/3. So technically, we could get, let's see, 2, 4, 6 seasons could be a good number, and then it's done. It has a definitive ending, 6 seasons.
Good.
Now, knowing Amazon, maybe they might do 5, maybe they might do 7, because even though it's up to issue 47, there's a few plot lines here and there that they didn't do. They're picking and choosing, which is good. I mean, as they're producing a season, they're like, it's like a puzzle. We need to get these elements that work together well and push aside elements that kind of distract. Because when you're doing, issue of the week, sometimes it gets a little crazy. But they have done a perfect adaptation of the comic book, and I loved every moment of it. I felt emotion. I felt glee when the action sequences are going on. There's self-referential humor. There's multiverse stuff done well and not annoyingly, and it's just there to drive the character-driven story. And Invincible is wonderful, and I'm happy that I got to see a live-action version, because another thing the series does well that I don't see talked about a lot is the music. They do a great job with the music. That's something that you don't get when you read in the comment, right? Unless you're listening to the music in the background. But yeah, it's just really, really well done. The voice acting, the music. There's so much emotion in these voice actors' lines and deliveries. Like, everybody is at the top of their game. And it's so rare in today's world.
It is.
It really is. So I just want to appreciate this. And those of you who are here, this is all spoilers.
You already know it's great.
You already know it's great. This is all spoilers.
Yes.
So we'll get into the individual episode ratings in a minute and give you an overall. But let's hear from the boys. What did you guys think of
I am
this?
loving this series. Season 2 still picks up from the first one. It's great. I'm loving it. It's up there with The Boys for great and Amazon television that they got.
Yep.
We'll see about Fallout, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Oh my God!
More of this, please.
Yes.
No, this is great. I'm loving the writing. The writing is like still on par with like season 1. Mm-hmm. I care about these characters, like side characters, their arcs, their growth. It's well written. Rex is like, even I feel bad for Rex sometimes.
I love Rex.
Yes, like
so
it's
cool.
just a side character. It's like not really there, but when he's when he shows up, I do feel for him. It's like he's a good guy. He means well, and just even when they're not fighting, there's not a lot of action. The emotion, the gravity that this show has, it's all there, and I actually do care.
Yep.
So I'm loving it.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I think it's an excellent show. I think the first half of the season I may like more than the second half of the season. I think it's because the first half was just so strong. There were so many things happening. The last couple episodes, I think I started with 6 and 7 today. There was a lot of Amber stuff, and I think they're handling it much better than they did in season 1. It's still not a storyline that I'm particularly interested in. It's important for Mark, and so I'm there for those things. But I found myself at times, it's like, look, we're approaching episode 8. We have to resolve this whole multiversal bad guy, and so especially now towards the end, it's like maybe I would have rather had some of those things. But this is television at a high level, and so it's great when you have the people who created the source material working on the adaptation, and it's actually going well. And it's not just a consulting role where there's like, hey, how would you do that? Okay, I'm going to ignore all of those things, and we're going to do our other thing over here. So it's good to see that, some of the production over at Amazon is going well.
Yeah, excellent. And I think that the first half I actually like the second half of the season better than the first half. The stuff with Rex, the stuff with the team, the dealing, the drama, the realization that he can't keep pretending to be a normal person when he is dealing with galactic level threats, and who he can be with, who he can love, who's at risk. Love it. But Alex right in the sense that Angstrom Levi just disappears from the season, basically.
I forgot about him. I was like, shit,
and
it's this guy.
What's cool is Mark even forgets about him. He's like, that guy. And he's like, yeah,
that guy.
He gets all pissed off. But I like it because there's just so much going on. So there's so many storylines that they're resolving. The shapeshifter dude, the fucking tentacles, a lot of other threats that are happening, the Viltrumites. And by the time this guy shows up, it's like, get the fuck. And it all plays into the story that it's like, oh, another villain of the week. Oh, okay, you say you're stronger, I'm going to beat your ass. And then this guy is so unhinged and crazy that he threatens Mark's family directly. Now, obviously, Mark's family has been, threatened indirectly before, but not like this. Yeah. And from what Mark has been through from the first half of the season, even the second half in season 1, I think he's had enough of this kind of shit. And
I figured it was coming because he needs to learn.
And it is fucking glorious. They save. So basically, Levi kind of disappears for a few episodes, and they tease him at the end of some particular ones. But episode 8, it's just 100% Levi. And that was the right thing to do because of the gravity of the moment and what happens at the end. It needed time, and they gave it time. So it seems like they know what needs time, what they can kind of skip, what they can re-gear into something else, because there was like a story that one of the dimensions that he went into was like a villain that had a bigger part in this period of the comics, but they were like, nah, let's cut him out and put him in this little thing here, and he might show up in the future, who knows. But anyways,
who is it?
The big fucking Skeletor galactic spiky dude that it looked like. Anyways, so let's get to Okay, we'll go into individual ratings. So we already gave you our number 5, which was for us a 10 out of 10. I'm not sure the boys. I think 9s. So then we'll go into episode 6, 7, 8. So going into 6, this is where we get. It's called "It's Not That Simple," and this wraps up sort of the cliffhanger that we got from episode 5, where they're fighting the tentacle monsters. And Mark's and boy, that last episode that I gave a 10 out of 10 to. Like, it ended on a big thing. Like, the teams are losing. I mean, Rex gets fucked up. He's about to be shot in the back, or he gets shot in the back of the head.
Well, we see it now.
We see it now, yeah. And just the the B team basically dies, gets their asses kicked. Even A team is barely surviving. So episode 6, amazing opening because they wrap up the Shapesmiths fight. Mark saves Eve. They do some badass fighting and powers here, and they win barely. The tentacles are coming after them. They're running. Even the Martians are like, well, it's not over. We got, we're going to bring the shapeshifter to justice guy. And then they start running from the Martians. All great. And then because they don't want to give up their, team member. And Smash 2 logo. And, but during that, Rex also has his bit. Holy shit, this was amazing.
Like, no fucking way.
He wakes up, even though he's been shot in the head, he kills the Serpent Commander guy after being shot in the head and having his arm fucking ripped off. In fact, as he's punching with his little nub, and it's a fucking sharpened bone, and he kills the Serpent. It's just great opening. However, this is where they kind of slow things down. The teams have been devastated. They just barely made it out. And I was a little disappointed that the growing chick survived.
I was more than a little disappointed.
That felt like a cop-out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. I didn't expect that from this show. I expect, some actual deaths instead of the fake-out deaths. We'll see where they go with it. If it's worth it, I think she should have just died. But maybe it adds a little bit more to the characters grieving. But yeah, they run from the Martians who wanted to kill the shapeshifter. Mark goes and destroys some fighters as they're being chased, and we get a scene with Mark and Mark's brother Oliver. Cecil tries to offer some help to the mother, and yeah, and we get and here's where Rex gets a lot of character moments in part two of season 2. And really comes into his own. He talks to Mark. They're kind of giving a little bit. He's talking about Amber, and they're getting advice. Even though he's like kind of a little woozy and messed up in the head, but he's still there. And then this episode slows down, and so I'd probably say maybe this is one of the. It's not a weak episode. No. It's a good episode, but I rated it lower than the other episodes. And what we have here, go ahead.
What's funny about it, so you mentioned it, is like it would be a fair statement to say this is one of the worst episodes of Invincible.
I should rewatch season 1. It's definitely one of the lower episodes of this season 2.
But what's crazy about that statement is it's still high level television, right? And so
that's why I'm hesitant.
And so it's like I think that it started out pretty good, but then for me it just came to an absolute like fucking screeching halt. And then the disappointment where it's like, we're not going to do the multiverse thing where someone dies and we come back. We're not going to do any of that stuff. Instead, they did it even worse where it's like, oh, they were alive the whole time. It's like, okay.
Well, it's only one that was alive. The shrinking Rayleigh.
Well, no. So what? Rex comes back from the dead.
Well, we're in spoilers.
Yeah, Rex comes back from the dead.
Spoilers.
Duplicate's not really dead.
Yes.
And then the Grow Lady isn't dead.
Oh, bro, it's 3.
Yeah,
They're back.
you got me. You got me because I forgot.
No one died in that fight.
Wait.
We're going to get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Maybe one died?
Who died?
Right? No, I guess...
There was only the 3 of them,
Damn,
right?
There was a little bit of a cop. Not a little bit. It was a cop out. So then, where it screeched to the halt, are you talking about where Amber talks with Eve while simultaneously Mark talks with the Taylor?
Look, I love any scene with Mark Hamill because I love Mark. But it's like, yeah, I think that the Amber, the relationship aspect of the show hasn't been working for me since season 1. So I know a lot of people like it, and I'm not harsh on people who enjoy it. It's just for me, it's one of the weakest storylines. And so when we go from something that I'm really interested in, I want to know what happens to Nolan. Alan is growing on me, like to the point where I fucking love Alan. Show me more of Alan. And there's all these other characters, and like, you get Amber. It's like, but I don't want Amber right now. So it's like,
I'm one of those that really do like this particular change because I'm a comic reader, and the way it's done in the comics, we're in the spoiler section, is Amber essentially just gets another boyfriend, almost kind of cheats on a Mark kind of thing. The guy just shows up in her life, and then they get together, and Mark's
and he has more time.
So it's almost like it feels like a character. She cheats on him. It's a character betrayal. Like they didn't here. It's far more. It's handled way better from the comics. I think it's more mature. It's adult. It's real. They talk through it because they do truly love each other. In the comics, they're supposed to love each other, and then this thing happens, and it's like, wait, what? Here it's done way more adult. Now, though I do say the older way does make sense, because there's some women out, that shit happens in real fucking life. That they make a fucking mistake and then you're not paying enough attention. Boom, they're in. So that has relevance too, and they could have even done that in this in a different way. But I guess they didn't want to make Amber a piece of shit, because Amber. She's growing on me, and I didn't hate her as much as I hate her in season 1. She's being very understanding that he is saving the world, and so they deepen that, and they realize essentially here that they live 2 different lives. They're just incompatible. Now, we get more of that in episode 7, but it's definitely laid here where they're having the conversation. Amber talks with Eve, while Mark talks with the tailor who makes his suit, and they're having doubts about the relationship. And meanwhile, here's the subplot that I personally don't think works. So I'm like, I'll be Alex with this. The William and Rick thing. So Rick comes back, and this is a character that I guess previously had I forgot about Rick.
Yeah.
And William, who is Mark's roommate, is in a relationship with Rick, and so he has a lot of PTSD after dying and being killed, but then being brought back. And here's why I accept it is that they bring Donald in. So Donald, who is also, the second-hand man to Cecil, who is going through some character stuff that I really like, is kind of showing some interest and concern in this episode, which blossoms into actually helping and learning more about himself while helping Rick. But this one, here in the episode, this is where it kind of grinds to a halt for me and kind of lowered a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like anything of the Rick stuff. I think the Donald stuff is really interesting because Donald's an interesting character. It also deepens some of the Cecil stuff where you realize that Cecil isn't, he's always presented in a particular way, and Walton Goggins is awesome.
Asshole.
And so he's absolutely awesome in this role. So I like those two, and then they try to deepen it, and it didn't click. It's just like
Goggins.
It's Goggins.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so it's like I don't care about this part, and I don't care about this part, and the stuff sandwiching it I feel is just so much better. So
yeah, and then so we get now a sad music section. What I say here is this show does very well with its music selection. So we got a sad music section. This is Immortal Grieving for Duplicate. Now, we know later on that's ruined, but we got Duplicate. We got Shrink Ray is in, almost her deathbed. Rex is in surgery. He survived. And then eventually we get that funeral scene. So Immortal is deeply affected. He's basically saying to the rest of the team, I can't get back to normal. This one really fucked me up. And I was there for it. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. We'll get to it. So then Mark basically, Nolan's stories are revealed. So this was set up in the last season where it's like, read my stories, Mark. You find my books are set up in the last bit. And then he finally reads the books. What are they, Joe? What are the things?
It is like stories that could actually defeat some of these stories that could actually defeat the Viltrumites.
Yeah, he hid, and what can defeat?
This is some the ray gun thing.
Yeah,
right?
so there's a Ghost Rider kind of character that has a ray invincible gun that just blows everything away. There's a planet with these creatures that can penetrate Viltrumite skin and rip them up. And so he realizes, oh, these aren't just terrible sci-fi stories. They are, weaknesses from his actual adventures in which he was getting his ass kicked.
And Alan scans them.
Yeah, so then, first Alan shows up. Immortal goes to fight him because he's fucking bullheaded and he's just an emotional wreck. And it was a good scene here. He's like, I can't. Yeah, Immortal's fucked up. But Mark shows up to stop their fight, and that's when he brings him down to college. It's like he's like breaking all his shit, and then scans the books. It's this juxtaposition that, college life is probably not going to last for Mark. Meanwhile, Nolan is in prison, and the Viltrumites are like, you want to redeem yourself? He's like, he doesn't say anything. They're like, all right, well, you're going to be executed as the Viltrumites demand. And now we do get a small little bit here that is not resolved for the rest of this season. I guess it's going to be in the next season. Shapesmith is, after the fight with the tentacles, he throws up. and he's having flashbacks and stuff. And in his throw up, there's this little fucking
That's the real one.
the real
astronaut they brought back.
Yeah, the real astronaut, and then he comes back, and actually there was a tentacle, and it regrows and it jumps on him. So we have that. Oh shit! Because that is a huge threat. That would fucked up Mars. That's gonna fuck up Earth, perhaps in season 3. So they plant that seed. And then finally, then they have another tease. There's a lot to cover. Another tease at Angstrom Levy, who dresses all nice for this special occasion, and he's jumping through the universes, and he's going to show up in the universe that his target is in. So initially, I rated this. Let's go with final verdicts for episode 6. I rated it a 6 out of 10 initially. I was a little disappointed. I rewatched it though as I was preparing for this, and I think the opening really holds it up. So I'm gonna and I actually do like some of the character work here. I like the Amber stuff. Just didn't like the it does slide a little bit. So I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 for this one on my final verdict.
This one's a 6 for me. Some of the stuff worked, and so it's still I don't hate anything that's happening here. And a lot of people are like, oh, how do you not? It's just not. There's so many things going on in this television show. I think that they're pulling from something that the omnibus is like this big. I mean, it's huge, and so there's a lot of stuff that they're trying to cram in. And sometimes people want to cram in all of their favorite parts, and when you try to push too much stuff in, I think that audiences are naturally going to gravitate towards something. And just some of the things that they like, I don't. So I think that this is a solid TV episode. But I think on the Invincible scale, maybe not as good as some of the other ones.
Yeah, I agree with the 6. I was thinking of 7, but again, the little cop out kind of like I wanted everyone to kind of like to be in jeopardy. It's like, all right, who's gonna be next? This is the tension field. But now it's like, oh, you brought everyone back. That kind of sucks. I was like, well, the tension's kind of gone.
Yeah.
And I like the Amber stuff, so I'm with you on that.
And what it does is this whole season had set up anybody could die
Yeah.
at any
I was
moment.
like,
could be
holy
dangerous.
And
shit.
now you just proved
You bring
the
him back.
opposite.
Right.
And so it shook us.
Yeah.
So maybe I should delete that one point.
Donald dying 39 times, and then like
Yeah, he gets
everyone gets
remembered.
brought back at all times. It's like, okay, well, the danger's gone. I like
the
the danger.
whole I forgot what the guy's name.
I still think
college.
the danger's there, but it was unnecessary. Yeah, because it does put that in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in college stuff I didn't really care about. But
Will. Is
Will,
his name?
yeah.
Rick?
That was just
Is it-
whatever.
Rick and Will. I think of the two. Yeah.
Yeah, those two didn't really care for, but overall, still great episode. 6.
Yeah. I can't remember. I'm trying to look it up right now. I can't remember if Amber actually cheats on Mark or if she just meets a guy and starts, seeing him. But emotionally cheating, essentially. Because somebody remind me in the comics. Basically, she meets somebody else and they don't really talk about it until after it's happened. It kind of happens out of nowhere. He's off and then he comes back and it's all, But this one is deep and they get the emotional gravity out of it. Basically, it's done better than the comics, in my opinion, in a healthier way, in a more adult way. But here's the thing. It feels as if Mark and Amber are just really good people and they've been to therapy before and they know how to handle, kind of this, and that's how they react. Normal people in real life, sometimes they act out and they do fucked up shit, and I guess they just didn't want to do that angle. So anyways, I guess I'll stick with a 7 out of 10. So we're moving on to episode 8.
7.
Oh, yes, episode 7, sorry. And this episode was entitled, I'm Not Going Anywhere. So here they have a fun little poking at themselves. So Amber and Mark go out on a date. They go to Comic-Con. They're trying to make things work. It was cool. There's a funny joke about animation quality.
Yes, I liked it.
The frames are all really bad, and they're hiding their voices, basically revealing the man behind the curtain.
It's like, this takes a long time to animate.
How sometimes they cheat. Now, I loved it. It's a great in-joke, and it's a great wink, but I'm like, bro, have you seen the motherfucking Japanese and what they animate in the same amount of time? Shut the fuck up. Stop complaining. But you're allowed to complain, and the Japanese are allowed to complain, but I'm just saying, I don't know if this animation is that. And animation is good, but I don't know if it's like, they're slaving away like this, but still funny. Again, Amber being very understanding here. He has to go once again during this date. It's completely interrupted because Rex is basically trying to prove himself. He's back in it way too early, and he's fighting this, I don't know, octopus man who
Cthulhu,
speaks real bad English.
Me hurt you now.
Talks funny, and he's about to get his ass kicked. Well, we don't know, but Mark shows up to help.
He was.
Because what I'm saying is that Rex actually has some integrated new weaponry.
Well, he didn't know about
him.
that. He was getting crushed already.
Yeah. He probably would have died.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he realizes that I guess he's been rebuilt, kind of has upgrade like Donald. And so we get a little bit of that. Love it. Anytime Rex is on there. Get a little bit of Rudy and Monster Girl. You know, Rudy wants to help Monster Girl with her problem, which is every time she,
more relationship stuff.
More relationship stuff. And I care a little less about these two. You know, it's like I care more about them than, I don't know, William and Rick.
Exactly, like that guy.
That guy. But I'm curious as where it's going in the future. Basically, he built her a robot body. I thought that was genius. I was like, hey, no, this is great. But she's kind of a dick about it, and she's going through some stuff.
I need you to. Well, look, sometimes they don't want you to fix their problems. They just want you to listen to their problems, and sometimes you just have to sit there and listen.
What the fuck, Alex? I got some good instincts right there.
I've been doing this a long time.
Listen to Alex.
Yeah. Sometimes
that's really good shit.
You're there to listen.
That's free advice. I had to pay for that shit in the past. Anyways, so good. Listen to that. The team is a mess. Okay, is what I'm saying. They have some scenes here where what was that? The new hire and Samson are talking, and it's like, wow, like mommy and daddy are arguing. Our team is just kind of in a bad spot. And Donald confronts Cecil here. Again, we had this already in the first half, and I was like about to be like, why are we doing this again? But it is given purpose.
Yes.
Because he's like, all right, let me show you this. It's like, he's like, we already did this. Like, no, you're going to want to watch all of this. And it turns out that basically Donald is almost doing this on purpose because it's his decision to do this and wipe his memories because he wants to help people. And he's seeing this footage of him literally helping people. He's not a superhero, and so he dies.
A lot.
But I would say he's a superhero.
Yes.
A superhero without powers. And because he has such a good... So this is the character stuff, man. It's great. And
this is good stuff.
Learns about himself and that. And so he obtains that knowledge. Later on in the episode, he's able to share his experiences with Rudy, who is about to jump off a building, and William's like trying to stop him.
You understand, man? Yes, I do.
Iron Man. Well, yeah, robot.
It's more like RoboCop.
More like RoboCop or
the bad RoboCop.
Oh, it just had the little circle.
Metallo.
Yeah, the thing inside.
So, anyway, yeah, I like all that stuff. Then Mark goes to the Dean, and he's like, I want to stay. I've been missing a lot of school. And Dean's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, that man knows. He ain't staying in school. And he's like, prove it kind of thing. And I'm like, no, Mark's not going to stay in school.
But he's right, ultimately. Like, what are you going to do? You can't be a doctor. You'd be surgery is going to happen, and then all of a sudden,
he's got to go.
The Titan shows up. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to die unless
he can't have a normal job.
One to like hundreds of people."
Well, iWriter was a perfect job for Nolan, right? Yeah. So he could just do things at his own pace.
There you go. So then we get a scene with a nanny. I'm suspicious here. Is this going anywhere? Are we going to get an arc here in season 3? Is she going to turn out to be a villain or something? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the nanny.
I don't think so.
I don't remember reading. I'm sure it was in the comics. It's been a long time. I'd have to go back and look. But what I want to say is the nanny's working out. And she finally gives. Debbie has been looking for somebody to take care of Oliver, and she finally gives to get some help. And I'm like, good, because Debbie needs a fucking break. Goddamn, the stuff Debbie.
Cecil's only been saying it for 2 whole seasons. Debbie, let me help you.
Kind of finally realizing
She was at her breaking point.
That's the next episode, Alex. Mark talks about his mom, talks with his mom about Amber. Another great scene. Don't think this one is in the comics. I really, really enjoy this. It adds character depth to both Mark, to Debbie herself, because Mark realized, oh shit, I don't want to do the same thing to Amber that Nolan did to my mother. Now, forgive me if it's in the comics, but I don't remember it, and so that is definitely done better. It's a great scene, and it makes total sense, and it gives him even more reason to be like, "That's not going to work with Amber. I need to find somebody my own power level." Yes, because I want Mark and Eve to hook up. Okay, Donald helps Rick, stops him from jumping. Mark goes on another date with Amber. He has a whole day off. He's like, look, no more interruptions. Our other date got interrupted. This is not getting interrupted, I swear. I made sure of it. So they go on a date.
Shouldn't make promises.
They get interrupted. And this time by a massive, massive threat. Anissa.
Muscle mommy.
Muscle mommy. And immediately Joe found his new girlfriend. Well, you're probably not going to want to do it, Joe, because she does one of the most fucked up things in the whole comic that is very controversial. She doesn't do it here. I think maybe that's going to be in season 3. But Anissa, she's one of those women that when she wants something, she takes it.
You're mine.
Okay?
Okay.
That's all I say. Yeah. Now, Joe would have just said, okay. But Mark says no, and that results in something in the future, which I'm curious how Amazon's going to hold it. I don't think it happens now, or does it happen now in the comics?
Maybe
but they avoided it. No,
avoid
I think it does happen later. I don't know. Help me out in the comment section, but I think it happens later. Okay, but eventually she shows up and she's like, "I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. What are you doing? You need to get this planet ready. We told your ass, Viltrumite." Conquering, stop it. And Mark's like, no, I'm not one of y'all, stop. And they get into a fight. She fucking bodies him. He has no chance, and he realizes, Jesus, even when Mark is fighting
he's about to
with
snap
his father,
Amber's neck too.
That's another thing too. So the
like,
date is interrupted, and I have to speak about that because it's interrupted in the most character-driven way.
Yes,
like she's like, if you don't fucking talk to me right
and
now,
she's like, yeah.
He's like, man, I can't put Amber in these situations anymore.
No,
because he realizes Amber could die, and I don't know what. And I like this little extra bit. I don't know what I will become if Amber is hurt, or what happens when my family is put at risk, or people I care about. God, this character-driven stuff is so good.
Yes.
So he's like, all right, let her go. We'll go talk. She tells him, hey, do the Viltrumite stuff. He says no. They fight. Cecil's like, hey, bro, we don't have anybody there's nobody. We could just disagree with her. Just tell her, yes, you will. Lie to her.
It's less than 18% chance that you will win.
Yeah.
You will survive.
I'll survive.
And Mark's like, does a stupid. I was like, yeah, do that. But Mark's an idiot.
Mark is not a smart man.
Yeah, and so he does the moral, and he has so much integrity, and he's like, no. And he gets his ass beat some more. But first, they go, there's a fucking tentacle monster in the water, Kraken, and she's like, show me what you can do. You got Viltrumite blood. And he doesn't do so well. And so she's like, ugh. And she kills the monster, and she's like, we could take this over in an instant.
She was making a lot of sense for a second, in like a scary kind of way.
It's like,
okay, you want these humans protected?
it's like,
who's gonna protect them?
We will stop climate change. There will be no more poor people.
Joe's like muscle mommy.
what are we
it's
doing? Like in a year, you guys no. Yeah. Well, she does have.
Humans can thrive under us if we just as long as they do what we fucking say. Joe's like, yes, mommy.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fix all this shit.
All right.
Let's see.
You have no freedom, though, Joe. All right, anyways.
Sometimes you don't want freedom. You want to be smothered.
By Anissa? All right. I guess so. Like it. How many of you would want to be smothered by Anissa? She is powerful as fuck. Basically gives him an ultimatum, and Mark refuses to accept the deal. Stupid, gets beat up, and then she's about to fucking kill him, but she holds herself. She's got orders from somebody even more powerful, and she's like, look, I was trying to prepare you because somebody else is coming, and if you don't have all this shit cleaned up by that, another will come, and all this is not. You're not gonna like what happens next. So she takes off. Cecil shows up, and it's like, man, why didn't you just say what you wanted to hear? Cecil's so pragmatic. I love him. And then Mark goes to Amber, all beat up, and this is where they have that moment. And I think because there was so much time with Amber in season 1 and at the beginning of season 2, it's fair to have 2-3 episode build up here of their relationship logically falling apart, and it does. Basically, she says she has no agency, because it's like she has no right in the relationship to say anything when he has to go and save the world. And she's right. That was what we were mad at her for, saying these things when it's like, bitch, he's going to save the world. And so she realizes that herself. And I love it. And it's like, I feel sad. I actually started to feel sad for them because it's like they do like each other. They do want to be together, but
it's not going to work out.
It just
because you love someone doesn't mean they're good for you.
Boom. Another banger from Alex.
No.
Who would I become if you got hurt, he says. And so they just start crying, and they said, I'm sorry. They don't say, I'm breaking up with you. They say, I'm sorry. And she goes, I'm sorry, too. That's basically said it right there.
Yeah.
So, wow. I was like, okay, this I like much better than the last episode, the way they of course, to be fair, that was it building, and here's it paying off.
I mean, I agree with you 100% that this is where it was done well, because it's not retreading. This episode wasn't retreading. It was them. They have the problem, but then it's an advancement or a resolution of the problem. So much of the other stuff with Robot and Monster Girl is literally retreading with nothing added.
It is
and so it's like the problem that I have with the second half.
Remember, these two still have a thing.
And it's like that's the problem I have with some of these moments. It's like there are things that work really well. Like Mark and his mother worked so well here. Donald and Cecil worked so well here. Invincible having Immortal having a little bit of a breakdown absolutely works. So they have the capacity to do these things. Yeah. There's just times where it's like, bro, you've shown me the scene already, and you're not upping it or you're not moving it further. You're just doing the same thing over again. And it kind of felt like when he's like, hey, we do these things in the writing thing to make animation. And it's just like, it kind of feels like you're just filling time with the same story beats that you already showed me. I need you to advance those things.
So that's basically it. And then we get 2 teases. So another tease is Angstrom Levy has his mom. His mom calls him on the cell phone, but it's Levy who answers it. Oh, shit. And then we get another Alan tease. And Alan is basically, I love this scene. So Alan's flying. He's trying to. You don't know what he's doing, and the Viltrumites are like, "All right, I talked to Mark, this and that," and then here's the fucking Alan guy, and she flies out, and she gets into a fight with him, and fucking Alan hits her.
I was like, oh,
and
okay.
She is fucking bleeding. She's like shocked, and then she comes at him. And I was like, okay, he's stronger than a Viltrumite. But when she goes to him, she kicks his ass. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
It was a ruse.
I love it. But Alan is realizing, oh, fuck. I think I'm finally stronger than like one-on-one. I can take a Viltrumite. And I was like, oh, my God.
And she's not a slouch.
So awesome. Right.
No. Like, if she's
this
like
is a high-level Viltrumite. Yeah. So, like,
she's our muscle
Alan
mommy.
Is probably on... on Nolan's level, and in the comics by now, perhaps beyond Nolan's level. So we'll talk about that as we go forward. So he does the eye wink or does the smile. He knows that he's basically faking it to be imprisoned in the same area, trying to find Nolan. To recruit some more help. So loved it. Gonna get the episode ratings for this one.
This one I'm gonna go with an 8. It picked up. Everything felt nice and tight. I cared about everything except for, again, the stupid teen love that we got going on.
It creeps me out, man. I don't like it.
It is. It's like, well, she's like older, but it's just like that. It's weird. Yeah. Anyways,
Rudy and Monster Girl.
Yeah.
I go 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. What do you think, Alex?
8. I think this is we're back on the right track. Yes. It felt like some of the emotional stuff had more weight because we were actually resolving some of the things. Mm-hmm. So I just know how amazing this television show can be. So it's just like, I think this is a great episode, but it is not the legendary episodes we've had in the past.
And final episode, episode 8, I Thought You Were Stronger. That says it all right there. What a great fucking title. And that line echoes throughout China, echoes throughout the comic. It echoes here, and loved it. So this one, good. Basically, the whole episode is devoted to the villain that was set up in season 2.
That guy
kind of disappears. He forgets about him because he deals with all this other shit, but finally comes to fruition here. Angstrom has his family, and he says, "Hey, I'm not gonna harm him. So as long as you fucking die the way I want, you know." And but he lies because eventually, you know, he is basically very unstable. Yes. Alex, tell us about what, you know, how he goes off kilter even more here when he realizes something.
Yeah, so like, when the mom Debbie says like, "Look, you're the villain. This is the one dimension where Mark is the good guy and you aren't," you know, and then he freaks out.
That was the second time. The first time is when he realizes she makes him realize, you saved Mark, or Mark makes him realize that you saved me. You're a good guy. And he's, what? No! You know, and we get these really cool flashbacks. Number one, to him saving him back when he was trying to do the right thing, this character. Mm-hmm. But then we get to see Levy's side, where it's like all these alternate universe.
Killed everyone.
All these alternate universe versions of him who is killing fucking everybody in brutal ways. Just knocking people's heads off one by one in prison. I was like, God damn. And so from that perspective, Levi is correct. And he just wants to make sure that all fucking Marks are dead, even though this Mark is a good Mark, as we know. But yeah, so then that happens, and he just goes really off kilter and breaks. Like, this is a brutal scene. Like, I was like, oh, that's Mark's mom. He fucking
like,
snaps
you
her
in trouble
fucking...
now.
Massive trouble now. Breaks her
Just
hand
wait till
off.
Mark gets back.
Just wait till Mark gets back. And he keeps opening these portals and sending Mark through these portals. And we get like
talking
lots of fun
dinosaurs.
stuff here. First one is talking intelligent dinosaurs.
It's pretty sweet. They spoke English.
Next one is a famous crossover. Now, originally in the comics, they did get a hold of Marvel, and they allowed Spider-Man to be in it. So if you're like, wait a minute, that kind of seems like Spider-Man and Dr. Ock, it was. But I guess they couldn't get a hold of the MCU this time around, or they wanted too much money or something.
Disney said no.
But they did do
Sony
something.
Sony said no.
Sony, can we
No,
throw you out? You're not doing so hot right now.
Yeah.
Nah, that was a long time ago when we allowed it. Now we got to work on it. We got to take every bit of money we can get. No, but they did do a cool Easter egg. The voice of this fake Spider-Man was actually the voice of Spider-Man in the animated series Spectacular Spider-Man. So that's how they kind of did a cool little Easter egg there. So anyways, then he also goes into a universe that's like The Walking Dead, which was a really popular comic at the time. So, yeah. And basically we get an epic fight scene. Mark is like, oh my God, when he sees his mom like that, and Oliver, and basically Levi, when Mark's in another dimension, Levi's like, I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hurt Oliver. This little baby picks up the baby by the little fucking...
throws him across.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to swing him around or kill him.
Oh, he
would
have been dead.
Yeah. He threw it, and I was like, wait, no, the baby's strong. And I was like, well, maybe the powers haven't kicked in yet.
Manifested,
yeah. So then the baby almost slams into something, breaks its neck, but Debbie grabs the baby before. And, so... is definitely a villain. Whether he was a good person at once, whether he has a good reason for doing what he did, and whether he did legitimately kill some fucked up Marks in the past, good for you, but right now, you are now the villain of this story.
Yeah, if you're throwing a baby around, unless they're like monster babies, then okay, I'll excuse you.
Monster babies.
This is a...
Have you seen that movie, Monster Babies?
Like in Dead Space? Them little babies with the tentacles coming out. You could throw those around if you want, but not an
zombie
actual
babies. Okay.
And don't break Mark's mom's hand from her fucking wrist. Anyway, so then Mark finally, and he's actually having conversation. He's being thrown. Time is all wacky in these places. He's been explaining his situation to people. because he's just trying to cope with what's happening. Every time he tries to do something, another portal opens, and then he's like, "What do I do?"
I don't know how much time has passed. I don't know what he did to my mom, my brother.
And then he finally comes through one portal, slams, actually gets a good hit on it because Levi is like losing it. They fight outside. In fact, the first part, I was like, oh, Levi should be dead because he like fucking drags him across concrete. You think he's gonna die? He's like, no. You remember that? What I told you about them putting my body back together? They made improvements. I'm strong. You think I wanted you dead in one of those universes? No, I wanted to do it by my own hands.
It was warming
So
you
then
up.
Mark's like, oh, okay. So then they're fighting. Boom, boom, boom. Great epic fight. And Mark, after hearing that, Mark lets loose. And then he screams.
Yeah, after seeing
it's like
his
that
mom
moment
and
in Man of
everything.
Steel when you're fucking with Superman's mom, and he's like, you're trying to hurt my mother. And I'm like, holy fuck. You don't want to piss Superman off. And if you've ever seen Superman versus the Elite, that's Superman even more pissed off than Man of Steel. You need to watch that movie. It's great, from DC Animation. Which, by the way, Invincible is on the level of DC Animation. It is probably now surpassed, with the storytelling here. But he goes crazy. He's like, you have attacked my family. And Mark lets loose, and he stops holding back. And he kills Levi. But unfortunately, they went through a portal. So he's on this planet that is like a dead fucking planet. There's nothing for miles. So he literally pummels him into blood, guts, and pulp. And it's everywhere. And he's like, I thought you were strong.
You were strong.
You told me you were strong. But then I love him talking about it and talking to himself as he's trying to rationalize it. He's like, he was trying to kill me. He was trying to kill my family, so I had to kill him. And he's like, I didn't want to kill him. And then he's like, I wanted to kill him. But he told me that he was strong, but he wasn't strong enough. It's just emotion, emotion, emotion. And I'm like, man, this is great. Meanwhile, Alan talks with Nolan as they pass. So he finally finds him on the prison ship, and he's like, stay tuned. I'm here for you. And eventually the Guardians show up because there's no way out. If the Guardians don't come and help him here, Mark is going to die. Well, actually, the Guardians have a line that says, no, you make it out of here, but you don't like what you became. I'm curious if that's going to result in something in the future, like maybe in one timeline he like grew older, flew off the planet, did whatever, and then came back and he's a bad guy. But anyways, they say that their world is not doing so hot right now, but they worked forever to, get him, and they found multiple time machines. Basically, a cop out.
Yeah.
I'll allow this one. It sucks. I wish there was maybe a better way to handle it, but it was like a let's hurry up
quick.
kind of
I'm
thing.
like, oh man, how is he gonna? Oh, they're
It's
here.
directly from the comics, and I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's the League of Superheroes and Superman, or the League of
Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh,
Great
great
movie. It's a
movie.
great movie.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. I think that this would have been a great opening scene for season 3. I think that there were so many things that kind of cheaped out in this episode where the bad guy won, and then he does explain why he's like, even though he's won, he's like, I can make you starve on this dead planet forever, and there's nothing you can do about it. I want to beat you myself, so I'll allow some of that stuff. But like anytime that anything happened in this episode, it was just immediately fixed in like the next scene, or 2 scenes later in the episode. And then at the very end, we find out the Duplicate is actually alive, and so that no one died in this season. Did any main characters? And so I was kind of disappointed towards the end. I like some of the stuff that they did with
Levi did.
Yeah,
Levi did.
but he wasn't. He was like a tertiary character in the season overall. He was like the big bad, but he kind of disappeared quite a bit. So
yeah, so
Maybe
the
he's
Guardians
not
show up to bail him out, and Eve tells him at that moment before he goes through the portal, she runs up to him, she's beside herself, and she says, I love you. I'm like, oh, shit, that hit me. It's like, oh, cool. These two have romantic chemistry, and so that's actually there. And he's like, and she's like, don't tell me, tell, the Eve
one
of
in
that
you.
universe. And, she's older. They're all older. In fact, robot
Is Rex.
is Rex. So that's interesting. And I don't know if that was a tease at, oh, wait, this potentially might be an alternate universe version of them and not his own. So maybe his Eve won't love him back. I don't know what they were kind of doing with that, or if this is a tease of what happens in the future with Rex. I don't know.
Well, they're dropping hints throughout with Eve, so you knew it was
the
coming.
Rex robot thing threw me for a loop. And
Well,
I don't
robot
remember
is
it.
DNA-wise Rex, but because he stole his...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Just a younger version.
He's just a younger... He made a kid version because he wants to date a grown woman in a child's body.
We don't
and
think
it's not weird.
Don't think
it's
about it.
It's not weird.
So, okay. I forgot about it. So then he goes to visit his mom in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good scene there. And then we get a little bit more of Monster Girl. And, they talk it out. And they talk their problems out. And he asks for a date. So this is planting a seed for season 3 and stuff that could happen there or go wrong there, which is what eventually happens, I think. Duplicate shows up and visits Immortal. And I just couldn't stop staring at her chest. It says 0. I was like, this is so dumb. Don't tell people you're the original. So they shoot that one at number 0. And she's
why did she?
Don't wear 0.
Why did she wear her uniform? Why didn't she just wear regular clothes?
Because you wouldn't recognize who this is. It's
for the
it's like I was incognito. I was like, no, you weren't. You're wearing a 0 here, so you're the original.
It's
Just
for the
wear
audience.
incognito.
I wish they didn't do it. I wish they would have treated us like adults. We would have remembered who she was.
Yeah,
Immortal.
just like,
he would have said Kate, and then we would have been fine.
Yeah, but
Kate?
it's a little dumb
no,
sprinkle
you need
there.
a 0, Alex.
You need a 0 and those bangs.
And the other one's gonna be a -1.
So that's interesting. I'm curious where this will go. Will he rejoin the team? Will he quit the team, be with Duplicate? She basically was hiding the whole time, which is a little bit of a betrayal, of the team. So I don't know how that's going to go. Meanwhile, we get a side thing here, and this one had me confused because I was trying to figure out, is this in the comic? Are you setting up something here? And I think it's just a joke. What it is the archaeologists. 2 archaeologist ladies, one with a tattoo that's shown, and I'm like, am I supposed to care? What is this tattoo? I don't get it. And then they go in and they open the tomb, and their dad is dead, and then the tomb glows, and it's like, oh.
Mr. Krabs comes out.
And he's like, I am going to possess you. And wait a minute, you're women. And they're like, yeah, son.
I need a male body.
I need a male body to possess. And that was a joke. And they're like, well, that's kind of sexist. And I'm like, okay. So I guess the series is having fun. They're just throwing a joke in, but I don't.
They did it with the Comic-Con one. It's like, oh, yeah, then we just cut away.
Yeah.
All right, so they throw another joke here.
If you have Clancy Brown, you're going to have him do his Mr.
Yes.
Krabs. And he was doing his Mr. Krabs.
It's amazing.
So.
It's right. So, oh, man. Okay, well, now I instantly like it now. It's like, well, I did think it was funny anyway, but I'm like, some people aren't going to like it.
It was out of left field and was just like, I'll allow because the voice is so good.
Some people aren't going to like it, but we allowed it. We thought it was funny.
Some people are
it's
just looking
funny.
for reasons to not be happy.
There you go. So Mark flies over this, and the scene immediately is like, all right, fuck all this. Let's go. Let's follow Mark.
I thought that was a cave-in or something, because like
it might have been a little
you
bit
see
of a
it like
cave-in.
kind of collapsing
shit,
a bit
Mark,
when he's like
you
going
fucked
by.
up.
That's
You
what's like.
killed these 2
Wait,
girls.
are they gonna die?
No,
there?
it's an alternate way out. He opened up away from because remember they're trapped.
Yeah, one
So
of
he
them.
helped
One
them.
of them died though. He's not going to be all weepy about that one, because that one wasn't trying to actively kill him, his mother and brother.
One of the archaeologist ladies didn't die. Well, anyway, Mark flies over the fucking place, and he has memories with his dad, and it's just, again, the character-driven storytelling. This is what every series should do, as far as superheroes and anything should do. But it takes skill. It takes actual talent. It takes writing chops. And that's what a lot of what we've been watching lately lacks. And here you can tell they have the skill. So character-driven storytelling that you actually care about and that has gravity to it. So Mark shares with his mom after their house is rebuilt. He's quitting college. Doesn't make sense. I agree. Doesn't make sense. doesn't need to go to college. He
Like, what
doesn't
am I
need a
gonna do?
fucking
Be
job
dentist?
at fucking Dell or the computer place next door.
He
Whatever.
won't have
He's
time.
not gonna have time. And they make a good thing of it. He's not just I'm a superhero and I need to worry about superhero stuff. It's more about he needs to control himself because he's scared after he just killed somebody and he's still dealing with that. And I need to get better. I need to be better. I could do this. So I like that. He's like, fuck all that nonsense. Again, great music here in this scene too. That's really giving it gravity. And then he goes to Eve, which we think maybe he'll finally confess his love for her too, or let her know that he's maybe interested in potential dating, but kind of touches her hand, but then he is not able to say it. He's going through a lot, and it's probably too much. He doesn't tell her, but she does the exact thing that he loves her for, and that shows that if these two got together, it probably would work more. She immediately consoles him. She doesn't get upset or whatever, and she consoles him, and that's exactly what he needed in that moment. And he rests his head on her shoulder, essentially. She's like, my shoulder's always here for you. I'm always here for you. And it's like, okay, if you're a superhero and you get with a fucking civilian who will die in an instant and doesn't know about fighting villains and saving the world and
You're
stuff.
putting them in jeopardy.
You're putting him in jeopardy. It's not really working. I mean, you date another superhero, then that makes a little more sense. You're dealing with the same things. You can help each other, therapy for each other. You're also fighting for each other. Now, there's still the danger that if something were to happen to Eve, then Mark would fucking lose his shit. But
it gives
no way
her
around
more
that.
of a fighting chance than Amber did, though. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think Amber has
exactly.
any chance against Anissa.
Exactly.
Well, not even Eve either. But anyways, maybe down the road Eve, but not this current Eve. So, that it kind of stops there. But then we get the two little teases. We get Alan and Nolan, and they're talking. He's like, Nolan is accepting his fate. He wants to. I'm going to be executed for all the shit that I've done.
It's like, leave Mark out of this. He needs a break. It's like, he's not going to get a break anytime soon.
And Alan's like, no, man. Like, I'm recruiting people, and
it's coming whether you like it or not.
Shit is happening. And Nolan's like, he's considering, and then he realizes, I miss my wife.
Which one?
That's what I wrote here in parentheses. Which one? Haha.
Yeah. Bug life?
No, clearly he's talking about
Bug
Debbie.
life.
So he likely will fight his way out and join the coalition versus the Viltrumites. And we get the Viltrumite War, which is the next fucking comic book thing. And if you thought all this shit was crazy, just wait till you get to the actual war with the Viltrumites. And I think that's coming. That might be the next season. There's maybe one more season before the Viltrumite War. But maybe they'll mix them in here. So like I said, 144 issues to cover. They've gotten to about 47. So that's like basically 1/3. So 2 seasons for 1/3. So I'm thinking, 6 seasons would be a good kind of pace for this. And as long as people are still watching, we want you to watch. We want you to support it. It's great. I want it to get all of its seasons. If this is cut short, I am going to tear the fucking place down.
Rings of Power costs a lot of money.
You're wasting billions.
Cancel it.
They spent like billion on. It was like $500 million for the rights and all this other shit. And you're telling me you can't give them a few $10 million for their animation? Fuck you. They better get
Cancel
all
Rings
6
of Power. Use
Cancel
that
it.
money. Use that money.
Exactly. Cancel it right now. But they're like, Joe, it just doesn't have the viewership of Rings of Power. It's like, I don't know. I don't know
pretty
why
sure it's gonna
it's
drop down.
animated.
People want what they want, man. We can't have no control over that. I see people defending that shit every single day. How amazing it is.
I've never seen anybody defend it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll show you some.
Where the fuck are you at?
Oh, so
Jacob, Jacob watched it he's like 2 episodes in. I gave up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never
I
seen
gave
anybody defend it. All right. So, anyways, there. What did I write here? So we won't have as long of a delay as we did between season 1 and season 2, so that's good. There also presumably will not be a season break in between it because that also hurt it. But even with all of that, I still think this is amazing. So Now that we got all of them done, let's do the entire season 2 final rating.
Yeah, episode 8. What did you think of episode 8?
9 for me.
Oh,
I'm gonna give
episode
it a
8.
9.
Sorry
It was
about
great.
that.
I liked the fight scene because I was like kind of like tensed up. I was like, is this where he's finally gonna kill someone? This is where he kills it. And then once you heard her arm snap, I'm like, oh, you done fucked up. And then even after that,
Mark is going to kill you.
even after that, the emotion was there. Everything was fucking great. Mark just trying like to make sense of what happened and like talk himself down. But just it was great. I love that scene as well.
9?
So 9 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8. I wasn't super impressed by the fight. I was really hoping for him to like figure something out and like overcome the problem. He just got mad and then was like more powerful and then
I was waiting for him to kill.
Could like go around the portal. It's like, bro, come on. But I think this is a solid episode. I just was disappointed when we got some of the reveals where just no one dies. And then
But that's not in this episode.
Yeah.
Duplicate comes back.
Duplicate is there.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
With
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, so yeah, the only guy that died was the bad guy, and it was that part was
All of the bad guys died. That serpent crew, they're all dead now.
yeah.
All right.
Or are
So I am between a 9 and a 10. I think that this one I would want to give a 10, but it is, you only have an hour here, and they went with 8 episodes, and they're doing such a great job with the time that they have that I feel like if you extended it a little bit more, maybe to 10 episodes, you'd still be doing a great job with what you had. So it's like, so a little bit of brevity there, I think, takes it to that 9 out of 10, although I really want to give it a 10 out of 10. There's a lot going on here. The fact that they are able to handle it all at the highest level, I really, really enjoyed. So I could see either a 9 or 10. I'll go 9 here because of what I'm going to give the overall. So yeah, let's go to just wrapping this up about what's going to come in the future. We have the Sequids that have found themselves on Earth. So that's going to be there. They still have that. Cecil still recruited that fucked up guy that is crazy. What they recast, by the way, that used to be Ezra Miller, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna have Ezra Miller for season 2. So they recast his voice actor.
Fucked up crazy
He's
person who's
making
kidnapping people would have been perfect.
The guy that's doing the zombie cyborg super soldiers.
Yeah, the reanimated.
There. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing. And then obviously the impending Viltrumite takeover of Earth. The Viltrumite war is coming. So fucking excited for season 3. But let's go. Final verdicts for season 2. Go ahead.
Overall, as a whole, I'm going to give this a 9. Great episodes, great fight scenes. I love the violence, and characters are written well. Motion is still there, and I'm super excited to see the Viltrumites take over.
Yeah.
I'm on their side.
You're on the Viltrumite
I'm on their side.
Yeah,
They're making some sense, Joe.
It's only because the
They're
muscle
making some
mommy
sense.
and now,
It's all right.
and this is not in charge, Joe. It's
Climate
these
change
other
is real,
assholes.
man. Like
When these other assholes show up, you're not gonna want
She's
them
going
in
to
charge.
protect me.
Yeah.
She's going to
I
protect
don't know if
me.
she can protect you from what's coming, but go ahead.
I think the season for me is an 8. I think so much of the season worked for me really, really well. There was just some parts where things just aren't resonating, where I felt that we were rehashing things without moving things forward. And there's so much great stuff here that I kind of want to see more of that and less of some of the stuff that we got. And then I was really disappointed with the
heroes.
And I know it's probably like not comic accurate, but having some of these main characters that we were shown to have died and have them just mysteriously survive, like magically survive in the end, was something that made this season feel a little less dangerous for some of the main characters. You know, I know Monsters of the Week are going to die, but really, really good stuff.
So you give it an 8?
8.
Maybe if they died, you might have given it a
maybe
9.
I think that there was some of the storylines, like I don't think that the Monster Girl and robot stuff was working for me. I think that the Amber situation was resolved really well, but I don't think the kind of the middle part was. It's like, man, we got that part. This part isn't working. So there were some parts that just.
So for me, I think that they're doing an amazing job in just 8 episodes. So much covered with emotion, with excellent writing, with selecting the best bits of the comic, making some bits better. aside from all the meta stuff, like it taking forever for the season to come out and then the stupid break in between, it's hard to live up to season 1, which I think I gave a 10 out of 10. I don't know why I wouldn't have given it a 10 out of 10, because the Nolan is the best, right? And that fight, it's hard to beat that Nolan stuff. And so what's here, I want to go with a 9, but I think that the character development and the character moments in season 2 spread out amongst multiple characters, even now supporting characters, is so good that while some of the fights may not be at that level of season 1, though sometimes they do, that I still like it just as much. So I am also giving season 2 a 10 out of 10. I think that season 1 and season 2 are perfect adaptations. The only thing I can ask for is more time. Give me more. Give me more.
More seasons.
More seasons, more time, maybe 10-episode seasons, but I think they're pretty set on 8 episodes, because maybe they're like, fuck, if we go too much, then we're going to lose this tightness and lose the formula. I don't know. But I just want more, and I think you guys should continue to support it, and hopefully we get the conclusion all the way out to 144, and if not, I'm going to be so fucking... I'll never forgive Amazon, because we get shit like Rings of Power, where they're just burning through money, and stuff like this, which... I hope there's some CEO up there or suit that watches this and is like, damn, this shit is good. I don't fucking care if it's losing viewers. It's going to get all seasons. You know what I mean? I just hope, I pretend in my mind there's one guy there that's like, nah.
Is he talking about Rings of Power?
He just has no, he has no.
It could be Jeff Bezos. We need to knock on his door. Bro, can you make sure that's good? Even though he's not in, I don't know. I'm sure he still has influence. Anyways, so that's it. Now we have to wait for season 3, and I cannot wait, because if we get into the Viltrumite War, it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
Going to be even better. I don't know if I can give a rating higher than 10, but it might. that shit's crazy. So thank you guys so much for watching. Joe, what were you going to say? You got something you're looking up?
I was just saying when Rings of Power season 2 is coming out.
Yeah. You know they got rid of that one good actor that we liked, the guy that was playing the random goblin dude. He's like, peace out. I'm not in this
He didn't
no
like
more.
it either.
He didn't like it neither. Yeah. So all we're left with
It
is
just says it's premiere in 2024.
This year, can't wait.
Galadriel, Angry Galadriel, and emo Sauron. Great. I
we got Gandalf, right?
I don't know who we have. We're not talking about Rings of Power yet, okay? Let's not.
It's Amazon.
Stop trying to creep into the good. This is the good. That's the bad.
Be gone,
Be
demon.
gone. Be gone. So, Amazon, now that Invincible is gone, the time slot, I think, is replaced with Fallout. So, next week is the first episode of Fallout. So, hopefully that goes well. I've seen little snippets out of context where I'm like, oh, I don't know. Everything looks nice, like we saw in the trailer. We'll see. It could be deceptive. Everybody's making videos. Oh, this is gonna be trash.
But she's a woman.
We've not even seen it. We've not even seen it yet. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.